We're going to have an amazing session. There's so much to convey. So what we've done is we're hosting two 30-minute segments, a Google map, so to speak, of WEPs around the world. Over the last year, events in more than a dozen countries highlighted the WEPs inviting us to the table and sharing implementation stories. We had Ethiopia, Australia, Germany, Spain, Croatia, and Kenya that immediately come to mind. So from your desk, if you think that what you do to advance gender equality and inclusion in your orbit is positive and good for business, I suggest we think about our individual contributions cumulatively. So little waves of change that converge into much bigger breakers sending energy everywhere. At least that's what struck me when I learned about the WEPs partnership in Brazil. I'd like to now invite our panelists up. So if I could get Vanessa, Danielle, Eloisa, and Adriana to please come up and take their places up on the dais. Thank you. So we'd like to start with the video that we have to set the scene. If we could have the video, please.
Eu saí da Síria por causa da guerra.
Eu sou camerunesa.
Eu sou refugiado congo-democrático.
I come from Burundi. I've been here from December.
Infelizmente, hoje o mundo vive uma crise humanitária. O número hoje total de pessoas obrigadas a se deslocar chega a quase 60 milhões. Se a gente olhar como era a recepção de refugiados no Brasil até o ano de 2010, eram números absolutos não muito representativos, por assim dizer. Já no ano de 2014, chegaram mais de 12 mil pessoas solicitando refúgio. A definição de refugiado é todo indivíduo que se encontra fora do seu país, que possui um fundado temor de perseguição por motivos de raça, nacionalidade, grupo social, opinião política ou religião.
Esse é um projeto piloto do Grupo de Direitos Humanos do Pacto Global da ONU aqui no Brasil, com o objetivo inicial de capacitar as mulheres refugiadas para entrar no mercado de trabalho e assim conseguir atingir os objetivos de vida delas. Mas, num aspecto mais amplo, o nosso objetivo é que as empresas abram suas portas para contratar refugiadas e refugiados.
Os refugiados em si eles já encontram dificuldades de se recolocar. A mulher refugiada, em especial, tem mais dificuldade ainda. Nesse primeiro momento, nós fazemos um seminário onde nós ensinamos a elas alguns direitos básicos trabalhistas. Nós falamos sobre o direito delas a respeito do seu direito como mulher, que é diferente de outras culturas de outros países. E muitos refugiados que nós temos recebido, eles têm experiência num determinado segmento que as empresas brasileiras têm buscado.
Eu trabalhei como professora.
Eu me formei como secretária.
I worked with a Ministry of Education.
No Congo eu gostava muito de fazer desfile de moda e eu trabalhava no gabinete do general-major Benoît Faustin Munene.
O problema da igualdade de gênero é um problema complexo e para isso você precisa realmente trabalhar em vários pilares. E o setor corporativo é fundamental. Hoje 2/3 dos empregos no Brasil estão nas empresas, né? Então se você não tiver as empresas engajadas nessa questão, você acaba não atacando a questão como um todo. Geralmente nas situações de guerra e de conflito, as mulheres e as crianças são os mais afetados.
A questão da mulher é um pouco mais complicada. Geralmente ela vem só, com vários filhos, ou ela vem grávida. Então, para ela é muito mais difícil. Então, esse workshop, para nós, hoje, ele é muito precioso. Ele vai dar uma abertura e uma estrutura para essas mulheres que estão chegando. Eles estão legais dentro do Brasil, eles estão documentados. Então, que as empresas abram portas, porque tem pessoas preciosas, com currículos valiosos, que falam mais de 2 idiomas e totalmente capacitados para o trabalho.
A verdade é que a grande chance deles para realmente se integrarem na sociedade brasileira é o trabalho. Então eles agarram essa chance com muito comprometimento, eles são muito dedicados, eles têm muito senso de equipe. Nesses 4 anos de par, a gente costuma ter um feedback muito positivo. A gente fala em refugiados, mas Tem uma outra categoria que é o solicitante de refúgio. E o documento é um protocolo, que chama Protocolo Provisório de Solicitação de Refúgio. Ele é num papel reciclado, então ele não parece muito um documento válido, é sempre onde as empresas têm problema. Pela lei brasileira, o protocolo já coloca o solicitante em condições para trabalhar.
This workshop was very interesting for me. Eu não sabia algumas coisas, como meus direitos como refugiado, por exemplo. Tentei tirar as dúvidas.
Tinha muitas informações que vão ajudar.
A informação que eu recebi hoje foi muito importante.
Tem várias formas que as empresas podem atuar. A principal talvez seja através da contratação, doações em dinheiro ou em espécie. Também oferecer acesso facilitado aos programas que as empresas têm. Conscientizar os funcionários da causa do refugiado. Ainda tem muito preconceito com relação ao tema no Brasil. Então, o Pacto Global da ONU convida as empresas para atuarem nesse cenário de forma proativa, promovendo os direitos humanos. Não é só o governo e as organizações não governamentais. O setor privado também tem um papel importante.
I like Brazil. I like to spend more time and bring my kids if possible. Eu falo sempre, sou meio carioca. Muitos anos no Rio de Janeiro, gosto muito dessa cidade maravilhosa, mas eu quero ficar aqui até o sonho de ter um dia minha própria empresa, se Deus quiser.
Eu gosto desse assunto de mulheres. Cada vez que a gente fala desse assunto, eu fiquei muito feliz. Não vou desistir, vou voltar na escola, fazer direito. É para poder falar desse assunto mulher. Eu gostei muito de Gia hoje.
Right, so these are our partners who worked with this remarkable project and getting it off the ground. So, you know, really a lot of respect for what you've been doing. I'd like to begin with you, Vanessa. You represent the UNGC. How and why did you get involved, and how hard was it for you to really gather partners together?
Okay. So first, thank you very much for the WEPs team for giving us this huge opportunity to show the video. I will briefly share the activities and the results of this project, and my partners and colleagues will provide more details. So people are asking me why a refugee project in Brazil? Are there refugees in Brazil? And besides my own motivation, I've been studying and working with refugees for some years now, and I was lucky enough to find colleagues who would share the same passion for the theme inside the Human Rights Working Group that we have in the local network of the Global Compact. The number of the asylum applications has increased 15 times in the last 4 years. So we now have around 20,000 refugees and asylum seekers in Brazil, and most of them are living in São Paulo. They face a lot of barriers to integrate to the society, and finding a decent job is maybe the main one. So the Brazilian local network signed an MOU with the UNHCR, which is the UN Agency for Refugees. And since then, we've been promoting the issue for companies to our signatories to make them understand what are their rights, what they bring to the company. After a meeting with the WEPs team, actually for this project, the WEPs was our inspiration. We decided to promote a pilot project with this gender perspective because women refugees face even more barriers to find a job. So we began this project with some members. Back. So here you can see the partners in the moment. So our local network, UNHCR, UN Women, Caritas, which is an NGO, Grupo Mulheres do Brasil, which is also an NGO for women empowerment, companies like Foxtime, my colleague is here, Danielle, PARP. It's a CSR project inside a company called Endoc, Itaipu, and Lojas Renner. So the first activity that we promote, the partners committed to empower a group of women and help them to find jobs and become financially independent. So that's our commitment since the beginning of the project. So the first activity we promote was the training of Foxtime staff. We explained to the employees about human rights, refugees, and women empowerment. And then we had everybody engaged for the project. The first activity we delivered, the first workshop, the video was filmed during the workshop, where 17 refugees participated from different countries in Africa, Syria, and also Latin America. We had someone from Colombia. And we explained them their rights as women, as refugees, as workers, how to behave in a job interview. Someone gave a lecture about women entrepreneurship, and we got a testimony from one of the refugees there who was beginning to be an entrepreneur. In the second workshop we promoted in February, we provided them tools to improve the learning of Portuguese, which is one of the main barriers that they have to find jobs, and also financial education. And at the same time, in a separate room, we had some human resources representatives from companies who were already interested in this project, and we raised awareness about the refugees issue. In the end, we gathered everybody, as you can see in the last picture, and everybody could network, share stories. 3 of the women shared their stories to them, and during the lunch, they were getting to know each other, and it was a very nice moment. Some ongoing activities since the first meeting we had with the women. Fox Time has been providing coaching sessions. Danielle will share about that. We have been searching for job opportunities for them. We have been offering support to the entrepreneurs through our network that UN Women have, the Global Compact have. We have been raising awareness to companies in general since the beginning. So some results so far, it's still happening, the project, and it's very dynamic, but we have 21 female refugees that are participating now. We had more than 120 business representatives participating in our raise awareness activities. 7 companies participated in the second workshop, and we are now following up with them to search for opportunities, jobs or programs that they might have that might beneficiate those women. 2 women were hired from this group, thanks to the intervention of our partners, Fox Time and the PAR project. 1 was hired during the project. I hope that we contributed to that. 3 refugees are receiving guidance to develop their business, and one of them also could obtain a place to host her social business thanks to our partner from the government of the state of São Paulo. So I will read one of the things that Jonathan from Nigeria said in the second workshop that we provided. Initiatives like these are very fruitful as I can get more information about what the labor market expects from me. So in general, they are very thankful and evaluated very well the meetings that we have, but it's still ongoing, so I hope in the future we will have much more results.
Right, thank you very much, Vanessa. Danielle, if you could tell us, was it as easy as Vanessa describes it? What was, Fox Time's interest in even venturing into a project like this? And what were the barriers that needed to be overcome for Fox Time or the refugees?
I'm going to talk in Portuguese.
Our company was founded by 2 women that when they were 40 years old with small children, they were discriminated within the work market and decided to create a company not to survive only, but also to be able to fight against this market trend that think that women are disposable or not more capable anymore when they have children. So in 1995, we founded Fox Times. So for this reason, we already have a social role since the beginning of the company. And this is an added value. One of the founders, who is the current owner, she's Christian. She has a very humanitarian approach. So the company, since the beginning, throughout all these times, has been has had an edge when it comes to human resources, and also how to bring human rights to human resources. When we talked with Vanessa and had the opportunity to become familiar with her ideas, especially when it comes to this specific cause, which is a small part of society, but we needed to do something. So we decided that we had to really go in with all our souls and to buy the idea of this project, because we had the appropriate tools and everything we needed to help these women to be able to be financially independent. So we embraced the cause immediately, and we started. I particularly am passionate about the whole subject matter. I have worked with in a mission in Africa, so I had really a penchant for this idea. So, personal passion with work, when you combine both, gives you an extra motivation. This is what I had. So women who go through this project, they come from an emotional state that's really complex. They don't have any psychiatric diseases or serious diseases, but, they left their children back in Africa and other countries, and their homes and their realities, their daily realities, and the so-called comfort of their homes, and they're facing a new world in Brazil. And how can we help them? Of offering, obviously, the conditions so that they can at least survive, either a job or a way for them to be self-employed, so that they can start their lives in this new country with dignity. And then after all this work that we did with presentations, now we are finalizing a project in May, and we have coaching sessions with them. These coaching sessions are very complex or complicated because they cannot afford their trips to these sessions once a week, so we're doing through the app WhatsApp. And there's another challenge, which is the cross-cultural features, which is another problem. But this work is very important for them because it really involves flourishing. They're not depressed nowadays anymore, but they are going through difficulties. They're sad. They need motivation. They need encouragement, and they need to be strengthened from the inside in order to face this new reality, get a job, etc. And we promoted also a few presentations at universities. About 300 people attended and heard about these subject matters. And we also took these discussions to the classrooms so that they can spread to other sectors of society. We've also promoted awareness among our clients, showing the benefits in hiring refugees for their companies, because there is the social engagement and there's a cultural exchange among employees. We've been talking to them and connected these people, or these dots, and we have a few we've had some conversations with Renert and Carrefour, two big companies in Brazil who are interested. So we are bringing these women, or introducing these women to these companies, so we could collect what we didn't expect. We weren't that interested in the project. We thought of offering something to them, and how to impact their lives and make a difference in their lives. Because if you make a difference in one woman's life, 4 or 5 people have the benefits. But what we had were, in turn, was like engaged employees, happy that we are concerned about these issues, and also, besides the motivation to be part of it, they now have different roles because everybody is a volunteer within the project. So they have new opportunities and new talents that they've developed. and now the company has a better competitive edge as a result.
This and completely committed to this, and I think we all get driven into the program, as it were. I'd like to turn to Heloisa. What are you and Itaipu doing to shape the business climate, especially in the challenging economic times that we are in now? And what is the business case for participation?
Well, good morning. I'd like first to thank for the invitation. It's an honor for me, and I will speak in Portuguese, my native language. So, Itaipu,
as most of them could see our CFO Margarete Grove presentation, Itaipu is a binational company owned by Brazil and Paraguay. The governments. Itaipu has always been committed to gender equality. We're working with that for 13 years internally, as well as within the community and institutional relationships, and to create public policies for gender equality. Itaipu as well supports UN initiatives on this area, such as He for She, that was created in Brazil within our company, as well as the WEPs, which were launched in 2010 within our company in Brazil, as well as Paraguay, to support the initiative of Global Compact and UN Human. So as a public company, we cannot hire refugee women or any other vulnerable people or persons or any persons directly. It's through an exam, public exam. So we coordinated for 5 years of our human rights working group on global impact on behalf of Itaipu. And on this project, I would like to add that this is a very active group with more than 30 companies who are part of, or members, most of them large companies, so it's very influential in Brazil. So human rights in companies is growing more. We're very proud of it. And on this specific case, the support of Itaipu, besides gathering companies or in other organizations, was to support financially the video. The video cost around $2,000, which is basically nothing. But the video has been opening doors so that other institutions, the international Brazilian media, are paying attention to this video and are creating opportunities and making companies aware about this issue. It's the first time, as far as I know, that a video is created in Brazil with refugee women, whereas they are not treated only as victims. Of course, they're victims. They're victim of a worldwide system that promotes this type of segregation, social segregation. However, they are treated as human beings who have a great capacity to work. A lot of them are capable academically as well, and they are very humble on the other hand, and they can mean a great difference when it comes to companies. Be it in society, working with hiring vulnerable populations, but also for the reputation of the company. And finally, I would like to say that this project, I have data I can say on behalf of the 4 of us who are here and other colleagues who are in Brazil actually watching us throughout this project. So we are very proud of this project. We're very passionate because we know that we feel it is very inspiring to us because it can really mean a real change in these women's lives. And this is what we look for when we work towards gender equality or human rights all over the world. Thank you very much.
much, Eloisa, Danielle, and Vanessa, for that commitment. And it's really exciting to follow, a project like this from idea to action. And we all read about refugee statuses every day. How realistic do you think this is for, it to be put or replicated anywhere else? Adriana, would you like to bring that perspective in from UN Women?
Sure. So good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll start a little bit with a context. I think it's important to understand UN Women areas that we work for. We work for increasing women in leadership position and political participation. We worked for ending violence against women, for governance and national planning, for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, for peace and security, and economic empowerment. And those areas are interconnected, so by touching one, you automatically influence the others. So increasing women in leadership position and political participation affects and includes women perspective in resolutions, in conflict resolutions. So it is really important. So going to your question, one of our perspective in this project is really taking consideration the learnings and how we can scale up. So in the economic empowerment, the area I work for, we have 3 activities. We engage companies by promoting the WEPs, and of course we do that together with Global Compact in Brazil. We partnership with companies to get funds and to get participation to implement projects, and we have here a few companies that are our partners, like Itaipu, Lojas Renner, Braskem, and we also stimulate opportunities for women in entrepreneurship. Because of that, I represent UN Women in several groups. For example, Vanessa mentioned one ONG that is Grupo Mulheres do Brasil, Women of Brazil group. This ONG was founded by one of the most popular executives in Brazil, Luiza Trajano, and they have more than 1,000 women work for that group, and they are willing to help the refugees. And so it was not by a coincidence, we thought working women and in refugees was really something we meant for, but by doing that, we allow it and we take advantage of the momentum gender equality has in Brazil, and we really open doors in companies because they were already sensibilized with the gender equality, so why not go for the refugees? And we also gain moment in all those groups that work for women entrepreneurship and that are fostering entrepreneurship, that are working for women in general. So we are getting their support and we are saying, you are welcome. Come and work for us. So by doing that, the companies that are joining us, they are working 2 principles. They are working principle number 2, that they are treating men and women with no discrimination, respecting the human rights, and by doing so, they are helping the refugees, but they are helping all people in their organization. So that is the beauty. You touch one thing, but then automatically you touch the other. So you really change the culture, you really change the world. And you also work in principle number 6. If you want to work with your community, you can include the gender lens on that. So you don't need to choose women as a priority in your community activity. By understanding women has different needs, you can assure that your solutions are being good for men and women, because when you don't have the different lens to look at one problem, you end up in that minority group only or helping more the strongest people in that minority group. So it's quite important that you have those different lenses. And finishing, in the case of Brazil, there is no way you talk about gender inequalities without taking the race perspective. So that is really important. It is in line with the Afro-descendant decade that we have in place with all UN Women partners.
Thank you, Adriana. This is a subject that really generates a lot of interest, and I'm sure that must have struck a chord with all of you or some of you. So if there are any questions here or comments that you'd like to share with us at this point, you can raise your hand or walk up to the microphone. And just my request is that you be very brief, state your name and your organization, and of course, our wonderful panel will be happy to answer any of those questions. Really, this is a model that could be replicated anywhere in the world. So how many of you think that this could be replicated? Can this partnership go forward? Any of those concerns that you have regarding this? Go ahead and share them now. You seem to be a huge success. They accept. I don't know, how important do you think? How important do you think public awareness is towards a project like this? Would any of you want to answer that? Maybe Adriana can lead that.
I think that's one of the most important things. People do a lot of confusions. What is a refugee? So you have immigrants, you have illegal immigrants, and so they get confused. And they have a psychological association with the word that is like someone that is getting out from prison. They associated bad things with the word. So clarify.
Also as fugitive, the word is very connected to refugees in the media and so on. And for people are afraid of the refugees. They don't know who they are. Sorry to interrupt.
No, we are a team, so we work in teams. So.
No, even the legal problems that you face, because some of these refugees come in, without the legal papers in order.
But Brazil law helps a lot, because once they arrive there, they can request the refugee status, and by doing that, they are already able to work. And so that is quite important, because people don't know that. And so you really need to clarify to social society and for companies, especially HR departments. Vanessa, you might complement that.
For the companies, that is our main objective with the video, is to talk to companies who are the refugees, because they also don't know, but also that the documents they have entitle them to work legally, so they don't need to be afraid to hire them. So this is one, because they have, Marilia said in the video, they have like a temporary protocol, which is a temporary document. It's a piece of paper without pictures. And then companies, when see that, they get very, and also they require for documents that they might not have, like certificates from the university, original, and sometimes those people fled and the university no longer exists, for example. So there is a need for the companies to understand and to change the politics for human resources.
Okay, we've got a question here, or a comment.
Hi, Erica Karp with Cornerstone Capital. Brazil has some of the most thoughtful sustainability leaders in terms of the corporate sector, so the Itaús and the Brascams and the Naturas. From your perspective, could you guys highlight the extent to which the corporate sector actually has incorporated incentive structures to really drive women's economic empowerment? So maybe either corporate examples or leaders, or in particular that issue of compensation and incentive structures and governance.
Okay, so I guess I can comment again, and Eloisa probably can help me. But we have today 88 companies that are WEPs signatory. We were talking among the Brazilians that are here that we want to beat Japan, so we want to be a lot more. And I think the Women Empowerment Principles Award, led by Taipo, and Eloisa can talk about that, has been quite important to spread awareness of the principles around the country. We just launched a new booklet where you have examples of Brazilian companies per principle, and you have tips on how you measure each of the principles So, and we are strongly recommended that the companies that did not apply for the Brazilian WEPs use their booklet to take the questionnaire, and you have the 40 questions for big size companies, you have 30 for medium size, you have 20 for small size. So take the questionnaire, do your assessment. So that is one part. The other part is that the federal government has a program that is called ProSil Equity and Race, that has been and in place since 2005. There have been the 60th edition, and last year they certificated 68 companies and organizations, because this program is not only for companies, but it's also for organizations. So what that means? That means that during 1.5 years, each company or each organization had a plan, and by the end of that period, they reached at least 70% of that plan. So those has been the indicators, and we are really willing to discuss tomorrow in the WEPs tools, so we can really learning from other organizations. We have the last one, we have a cooperation with one company in Brazil to analyze all the tools in place in Brazil. So global reporting indicator, the Bovespa, that is our stock options indicators, and so we can come up and understand what's missing.
Yes. You want to add anything to that, or?
I would like to add.
Before we ask the question, yeah. Please, go ahead.
No, it's about the, sorry, in Portuguese. About the WEPs award, we want to raise awareness and encourage companies to do this homework. And before the tool that is being prepared, we used these indicators, RGI, and we put together several indicators. But Brazilian companies that want to participate in this prize do not have to apply. They can just fill out a questionnaire on our site and check and what they can do and promote these principles. Several companies filled out that questionnaire, and now they are applying, and they are probably they have a chance to take one of these prizes.
UN Global Compact. I want to congratulate the Brazilian network, UN Women Global Compact, for taking on the refugee issue. And I don't have to remind everybody here, it's one of the world's most pressing issues, causing a lot of negative human rights abuses, a lot of humanitarian disasters. And I think all of the world can learn from Brazil on this inclusiveness and positive approach. Brazil itself is in the midst of big challenges and problems, and yet its inclusive society and good leadership at the corporate level and elsewhere is moving forward on this. So my sincere congratulations, and I applaud you. The question I have is, given the political and geostrategic importance of this issue worldwide, what can be done both on your end to scale up what you are doing already, and how can the good practices that you actually show forward spread more widely, including, I would dare to say, to this country, to Europe, and many parts in Asia? It's arguably one of the most important contributions in today's world. Thank you.
Adriana?
I can start again. I think we mentioned one of our partners that is called Endocipar, and they have a database where they really include all the information of each refugee, like what's they graduated from, what they are willing to work for, and so companies can go there and access. Unfortunately, right now we only have 2,000 people in that tool, and one of our challenges that we didn't really officialize it yet, but we are really working to get more resources to get all the refugees and the ones that are waiting, they're requested to be processed there. So I think this kind of database is something that could do in any country, and it helps a lot, because it helps, including in case of Brazil, that we have gaps in some areas like technology, that you can find people with that knowledge that you don't have. So I think that's one of the examples.
And I'd like to add that sustainability and human rights representatives inside the companies can help to make the human resources area understand the question, the matter. We have been opening doors in big companies. Right now we are with Loja Center, for example. So the first reaction is when we talk about refugees, they talk about the documents, that they need, and there is a need to make a change. So when we open this door, then naturally the refugees will start to begin to work and integrate into the society. So this is one easy thing that I hope that people here can start talking to their companies about the refugees and understand their law and so on.
Right.
Só gostaria de acrescentar que já existem outras cidades.
I would like to add that there are other cities in Brazil that are doing the same process. They are using the same model because this is a simple model that can be replicated anywhere in the world.
This project is cheap, it's easy, and it's access for everything. For everybody.
Yes, this project has no budget.
No budget.
It's important to say.
Yes.
All the things that we promoted, it's because of the resources of the partners and other partners that we have.
Yes, but it's also as much difficult because it's a changing of a lot of mindset.
Yes.
So that needs a lot of time and energy.
Change culture, change
Correct.
mindset, but it's cheap, it's easy, but require passion.
Yes,
Passion for the cause.
and all of you have that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We've got a question, and that'll be probably our last one.
Hi everyone. Since I'm Brazilian, I'm going to ask in Portuguese.
I hope it'll be.
Yes, it's going to be a question, but I'm going to ask in Portuguese because I'm Brazilian, like them.
Please.
Gurias.
Congratulations for your good work. I would like to ask you a question. In spite of Brazil being in the leadership in terms of the number of companies that are signatories of the WEPs, as a country, our ranking was lowered in terms of gender equality and economic participation of women. I would like to ask your opinion, do your work, if this has to do with public policies and us as civil society, what can we do to improve that? And as a country, we are a hemisphere, a continent. What can we do to lower the difference between men and women? We are talking about the southern region, and we are talking about the economic center in São Paulo. Thank you.
Olha, eu acredito que
I believe that Brazil is going through great change in terms of that issue. I am more optimistic because, in truth, Brazil developed increasingly. A lot of people were lifted from the lower economic class to the middle class. And that also helped women's empowerment because women now have positions. There was an increase of 40–50% in that regard. Also, women who were heads of households had a better situation in terms of financial situation and leadership. So Brazil is heading through a right path, and Brazil is growing. And I believe that the middle class and the female population in the middle classes will make Brazil give a leap forward in that respect.
Recession, and Brazil is facing some recessions and bad economic conditions lately. You have to be very careful to not go back in the advancements you did for women, race, and all minorities. So for that, for example, in the last report UN Women published last year, the women progress of girls and women in the world, we said the importance of adding the macroeconomics, politics, the question of women, and so those gender lens that you can add. And so I think that is an invitation also for the companies. And we were also discussing, and for this year we want, because we have 88 companies, most of them are big size companies and leading the industry they are in. So we want their help to talk to their chain, especially their suppliers, to make it even strong.
Right. Thank you so much for the commitment, for the innovation, and for that business sense that this project exemplifies. Thank you so much. We will, of course, be talking more about this. I'd like to request our panel to please step down, and we move on to continue going around the world, and we're moving on to our next panel. So a big round of applause for Brazil. They're really the roadmap ahead.